Welcome to my story on my benzodiazepine journey. This is my journey of tapering off clonazepam and why you should taper now. It has been quite challenging, but it will be worth it in the end, for the long-term dangers pose a great risk. Let's dive into the details. It all began with what seemed like an innocent prescription. I was dealing with anxiety and insomnia, and my doctor recommended clonazepam as a solution. At first, it felt like a miracle. My symptoms subsided, and I could finally function normally. But little did I know, this was the start of a nightmare. As time went on, I began to notice that my body was becoming dependent on the medication. I needed higher doses to achieve the same effects, and missing a dose led to severe withdrawal symptoms. It was then that I realized I needed to make a change. One day, I met with a dietitian who opened my eyes to the dangers of long-term benzodiazepine use. She explained how these medications could wreak havoc on the body and mind, leading to a host of health issues. This revelation was a turning point for me. I knew I had to unmask the real enemy and take control of my health. But it wasn't just the physical dependency that was an issue. The anxiety I thought I was treating was actually being exacerbated by the medication. It was a vicious cycle where the very thing I thought was helping me was in fact making things worse. This realization was both shocking and enlightening. I knew I had to make a change, but the road ahead was daunting. In the following chapters, I'll share my journey of tapering off clonazepam, the challenges I faced, and the lessons I learned along the way. It's a story of struggle, resilience, and ultimately hope. I hope my story can inspire others to take control of their health and make informed decisions about their treatment options. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this journey, uncovering the truths and navigating the complexities of benzodiazepine withdrawal. And then a glimmer of hope from the most unexpected source, my amazing dietitian. Yes, you heard that right. The person who usually lectures me about kale and quinoa made me aware of the dangers of long-term benzo use that affect the very anxiety and depression symptoms that I'm using the drug to treat. But why was I hearing this from my dietitian? Surely my neurologist would have told me, right? It was a moment of realization. The dietitian explained how long-term use of benzodiazepines could worsen the very symptoms they were meant to treat. I felt a mix of shock and betrayal. How could something prescribed to help me be causing more harm? This revelation was the catalyst I needed. It was time to take control of my health and start the journey of tapering off clonazepam. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. It's also the foundation for a comeback. I'm taking back my brain, one agonizing milligram at a time. It must be made damn clear that one cannot simply stop taking benzos. This is the plight of this toxic drug. If you stop taking benzos cold turkey, the conditions that will ensure could be fatal. It must be reduced slowly over time. How long will this process take? That will depend on you individual makeup for. We are all different. So far, I have been tapering for 7 months. I started in September of 2024. I have 2 more months left. So how does one taper? First thing is to get in touch with a good compound pharmacy that can create a liquid suspension of the drug. This step is critical. Having a liquid suspension of the drug will allow you to take accurate amounts and will make cutting your dose much easier. After you've got the drug, follow the taper protocols of Dr. Heather Ashton. Doctor was a British psychopharmacologist who did extensive clinical research on various pharmaceutical drugs, one of those drugs being benzodiazepines. Her protocol calls for a 5 to 10% drop every 2 to 4 weeks to be modified depending on user experience. This is the protocol that took me from 15 years of clonazepam use, starting at 1.2 milligrams down to 0.17 milligrams as of this day. It's a slow, painful process, but with each tiny reduction, I can feel a glimmer of hope returning. They talk about the physical scars of addiction, but it's the unseen ones that cut the deepest. Clonazepam didn't just steal years of my life, it stole my confidence, my sense of self, my relationship with others, my worldview, hell, even my outlook on society. When one suffers from an invisible illness, that is, an illness people cannot see, society treats you as if you're okay. And don't you want to be treated like you're okay? One could also argue that it makes your condition more challenging since people do not see forms of decrepitation written all over you. Meaning sympathy goes right out the window as people forget what you're fighting through as quickly as you've told them. But every day, I reclaim a piece of myself. The journey is long, but the destination is worth it. This is how we must see it. It's not just my mind that's rebelling. My body is staging a full-blown revolt. Every cell in my being is screaming out in protest. The withdrawal symptoms are relentless. My muscles ache, my head pounds, and my stomach churns. Sleep is elusive, and when it comes, it's filled with nightmares. My body is in a constant state of fight or flight. It's a battle I face every single day. But I know I have to keep fighting. Each day is a step closer to freedom. This beast of a drug will present to you many different kinds of symptoms throughout your time using the drug. At first, you will think that you've gone crazy. If you're anything like me, you probably got a neurologist, a GI, a cardiologist, a urologist due to different symptoms that you noticed. That is the elusive, scary thing about this drug, is its ability to mimic other serious disease, any illnesses. It took me 10 years to realize that I did not have a heart condition because I was getting palpitations. I did not have dysautonomia due to me experiencing dizziness, lightheadedness, rapid heart rate, digestive issues, anxiety, fatigue, the list goes on and on, or the sleep disturbance, As your body's about to sleep, your heart begins to race for what it appears to be no reason. The fact of the matter is, I had to rule any other medical possibility out, which took time, money, and a shit ton of resources. What anger me is that on my medical portal, that is shared with all my doctors, why did none of them, especially my neurologist, mention or even ask how long have I been on this drug? Not a single damn one of these fancy Boston doctors were able to figure this out, this puzzle that I and my dietitian would later conclude. This is precisely what is wrong with allopathic medicine. Each doctor or specialist focus on their own segmented world, not once considering the body as a whole, which in turn allowed them to miss this crucial element in my health. Maybe it's the Benzos. Maybe Samuel needs to get off this drug. It does have a black box warning as of 2020. Section 1. The Ashton Method. A Glimmer of Hope. After years of feeling lost in a maze of misdiagnoses, I found hope in the Ashton Method. Developed by Dr. Heather Ashton, it offered a lifeline out of my chemical prison. The method involves gradual tapering, allowing adjustment to life without clonazepam. It's a slow and steady retreat from physical dependence. Alongside the tapering, I embraced holistic practices like meditation, yoga, playing music with friends, and journaling. I also focused on maintaining a healthy lifestyle with balanced nutrition, regular exercise, and proper sleep. Each day brought new challenges, but also new victories. As I progressed, I began to see a brighter future filled with possibilities and hope. The journey is tough, but the rewards will be worth every step. If there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's the importance of patience. Benzodiazepine withdrawal is not a race, it's a marathon. It's a lesson in letting go, in surrendering to the process, in trusting that my body will heal in its own time. Embracing the journey means accepting the ups and downs. It's about finding strength in vulnerability and courage in the face of uncertainty. And most importantly, it's about believing in the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. The road less traveled, embracing the unknown. This journey hasn't been easy. It's been a grueling, often terrifying trek through uncharted territory. There are moments when I question my sanity, my strength, my very will to live. But I'm still going, one agonizing step at a time, driven by a primal need to reclaim my life. It's about embracing the uncertainty, the discomfort, the raw vulnerability of it all. This is the road less traveled, the path to freedom. From darkness to light, rediscovering my true self. As I emerge from the fog of clonazepam, I'm struck by a profound sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the darkness, for the lessons learned, for the strength I never knew I possessed and that you possess. This journey is transformative, revealing parts of myself I had long forgotten. The will to have a better life. I will reconnect with my passions, my dreams, and most importantly, my true self that has been lost. The path ahead is filled with hope and endless possibilities. I know it is Or at least that's what I need to keep telling myself. The power of sharing. Your story could save a life. If you're struggling with benzodiazepine dependence, please know that you are not alone. There is hope. There is healing. Why do people who suffer tend to suffer in silence? People will let you down, especially people who are healthy. I've had times where I had to crawl to my medicine cabinet because I could not stand calling out for help, and no one answered. What the hell is wrong with people? You ask yourself sometime, this weird paradoxical relation of a majority of people who are incapable of understanding your plight, less they see a giant gaping wound on your persons. This is my whole premise behind my damn channel. Making our voices heard so we can connect to one another, so that like-minded people who are suffering can form a community unencumbered with ego, pride, or fear, simply people sharing what they know in order to help one another, hence the name of my channel. We who suffer in silence. Fuck suffering in silence. We will suffer together and heal together. Fuck clonazepam and fuck chronic illnesses. Share your story. Never give up. Never quit on your healing journey. Because sharing your story could be the first step on your journey to recovery. Your voice matters. If you like this kind of content, or if you can relate to this content, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe as I aim to bring you more knowledge that I wished was shared with me. Until next time, YouTube, peace.
A lot of people out there are struggling with tapering, so stay tuned. Please comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for the 10K. Until next time, peace. A lot of people out